IVM.
Welcome to Pyaar Actually podcast, an anthology of stories which will make you smile, cry, tug your heart, and show you how love manifests itself through moments like no other. Stories of people whose relationships have been through the test of time and shone like a natural diamond. I'm your host, Shriya Pilgaonkar. And when I was asked by Natural Diamond Council to share some stories like no other, मैंने बस हाँ कह दिया. Because कुछ कहानियां ऐसी होती हैं जो सब तक पहुंचनी चाहिए. Because Pyaar Actually is nothing but two people building a collection of special moments together. Every mother-to-be wants to feel as pampered as possible in the months leading up to her big day. That was the case with Rhea as well. But now when I think of Rhea and Shan, I know that even the most challenging 9 months can seem like a fairy tale. Join us on this episode, Always Beautiful to Me, of Pyaar Actually, and find out how my favorite couple from college traveled the highs and lows of a new unknown chapter of their lives. Rhea knew she shouldn't have made him do it, but she was on the verge of tears. A little to the left, she croaked, wiggling her toes. Shantanu sat beside her on the sofa, pressing her feet after clocking a 10-hour day. And in his defense, not once had he complained till now. Why would he? She wondered, smiling a little. After all, she was pregnant. And then the startling reality of it all came crashing in. Oh my God! I'm pregnant! She thought, shifting her weight, feeling a little uncomfortable. She was 7 months in, but it still felt like just yesterday. Who would have thought someone as petite as her was even capable of looking so bloated in such a short span of time? And yet, here she was, with a swollen belly and swollen feet, no more than 4 feet 11. A stark contrast to her 6 feet tall husband, who was now at her service. You've had a long day, Shan. Why don't you go to sleep? She murmured reluctantly, sifting through a magazine and eyeing the catalogue. He'd been running his family business ever since he'd graduated and had never had a day's worth of rest. In that sense, they were so much alike. They had their own thing going for them. But then again, the differences were just as big. He was part of a big corporation, and she was a fashion designer. And a successful one at that. And miss the hilarious look on your face every time I do this? He massaged the space between 2 toes and laughed. Her eyes rolled upwards. Oh God, that feels so good. Okay. You're officially appointed. I need this every night. Oh, plus a hot tub. I'll be sorted. He laughed heartily. Who knew this was what I'd signed up for after marriage, huh? Look at it this way. We got married without even knowing who the other person was. No dating, no courting, no love story, no nothing. I got no chocolates or free movies or roses. So you may as well pamper me now, no? Sure. Oh my goodness, just look at this beauty. She pointed at a page in the magazine, her eyes sparkling. What? He asked absent-mindedly. She sighed dramatically. Oh, nothing. Just looking at these gorgeous pieces. Oof. Rhea oohed and ahed her way through the magazine. She pointed out luxurious pieces of clothing, natural diamond jewelry, and gorgeous shoes to him that caught her eye, even though he understood precious little about fashion. He had noticed her angst and restlessness these past few months, wandering from the bed to the couch in maternity clothes. None of my outfits fit me, Shan. He found her once staring at her closet. I know it's silly, but I miss my stuff. I mean, I don't remember the last time I wasn't in my pajamas. Don't get me wrong, these pajamas are everything I need right now, but She had trailed off, but he knew what she meant. She hadn't been able to do the things that made her happy, and he knew it was taking a toll on her. His presence always cheered her up, he thought, but by the time he got home, he was exhausted. He had shifted his crazy work hours around lately to spend more time with her, but he knew she still felt lonely, like she was doing this on her own. So he made a rule: no work on the weekends. They spent their Saturdays and Sundays taking slow walks at the park, waking up late and sharing occasional cups of hot cocoa. He helped with the housework and experimented with new recipes. So it was the weekends she looked forward to every time, because life was easier, happier, and full of moments to cherish. But then dreadful Mondays came, and he had to leave again. This weekend, though, he told her he had to be away, and she sure as hell wasn't happy about it. She tried not to show it, but the idea of his absence on the only 2 days she truly got him all to herself started making her very cranky. By Friday, she was a complete mess. She was crying and eating vanilla ice cream. It wasn't even her flavor. But she was pregnant and had every justification in the world. And to top it all, she couldn't stop making snarky comments. Her poor husband bore the brunt of it all. He didn't retaliate. And the only time he spoke was to ask her if she needed anything. No, she huffed. Stay was what she wanted to say, but she didn't. Do you have to go? It's just a stupid reunion, she said, rolling her eyes for the 100th time. Yes, Rhea, I do. It's a school reunion, our first in ages, and my friends just wouldn't take no for an answer, he reasoned with her. Look, they've already prepared an itinerary and booked all these hotels and clubs. It would be wrong to back out. Look, I'll be home in no time, I promise, okay? This meant midnight. For sure, it meant midnight. And so, at sharp 5 p.m., she was left with an empty house and her swollen feet. Deep down, she knew he had also been going through a really stressful time and needed this time with his friends. But she was in her 7th month of pregnancy and her emotions were getting the better of her. What's happening to you, Rhea? She sighed to nobody in particular and lifted her feet onto the sofa. I feel ugly and clingy and... Okay, wait, get a grip. She sat up. I know what I'll do. I'll just distract myself. She had been planning to arrange her extravagant cupboard full of her favorite outfits, makeup and jewelry, but had never gotten around to actually doing it. As she went through each and every ornament, she tried them on secretly and looking at the mirror. Pretty hot and tempting, she said to herself, trying to be convincing. At 7, the doorbell rang, and she quickly kept the precious gems in a new box. Whoever it was would laugh at her pitiable state anyway, and she probably looked terribly odd with all that jewelry going against her dark circles and ugly feet. When she opened the door, she gasped. What a surprise! Her husband was standing there, a bouquet of flowers in one hand and a small box in the other. And around 10 of his friends were standing behind him, crowding together in the passageway, but all with smiles on their faces. How come you're here? She asked. Well, as soon as we sat down at the cafe, I confessed to my friends that I couldn't spend the evening without you. They made fun of me for being mushy. But then they had an idea. What if they brought the party to our place? Don't worry, we won't be loud, we promise, said one of his friends cheerily. And, her husband added, we've packed pizza. I hope you're hungry because we definitely overordered. Now will you let us in? She giggled. Thank you for the flowers and... She eyed the box suspiciously. He opened it gingerly, and she teared up a little. I can't believe this. Ria's eyes sparkled with excitement as she saw the beautiful necklace made of perfect natural diamonds taking in its glory. Wait a minute. That necklace looked familiar. Oh my God! It's from that magazine from earlier. How? Ria, I know you miss all your stuff from before. So I guess I'm just giving it some competition. These beautiful diamonds should do the job, I think. He said cheekily and placed this precious necklace around her neck. Gorgeous. She was touched. It was a moment like no other for her. You really think so? Why wouldn't I? Nahin, matlab, because I'm so... She sobbed. I'm so pregnant. Darling, stop crying. I've always told you how attractive you are to me, pregnant or otherwise. I love you. She touched the beautiful necklace a little more confidently. Nahi pata. Now you do. He smiled. What followed was one of the best nights of her life. They played dumb charades, ate copious amounts of pizza, and all his friends went out of their way to make sure she was comfortable throughout. But none more so than him, her husband. Throughout the party, the games, the music, he always had one eye on her and a hand on her shoulder whenever she needed it. Thanks, baby, for being around today even when you couldn't. And for the pizza, she said. I'll be around even when you look like you're about to throw up that pizza, he promised. I probably will because of this naughty kid, she said, patting her belly. What do you think he's thinking right now? She asked. That his mommy's so pretty, he replied, staring into her eyes. She smiled up at him. They probably hadn't had a romantic start, and they were definitely poles apart. But here they were, making it through and experiencing a moment like no other, filled with love and understanding. It wasn't that he had brought her the lavish gifts. It was that he had listened. Even when she was complaining, even when she wasn't communicating. He knew her. He knew when she was being needy, when she was feeling lonely. Baby, massage my feet for me tonight? She asked slyly. Why do you think I brought all these guys here anyway? He joked, pointing to his friends, and they all burst out laughing. But Rhea knew. She was the happiest one in the room. Wow, that sure made me go, aww. We're sure that made you go, aww as well, right? Samajh mein aaya. Big romance definitely lives in the smallest moments. Moments like no other, that form the pillar of any relationship. Do you have a special moment that makes you go, aww? What was that gesture from your partner that melted you away? Jaldi se let me know. See you all next week with another tale of love, only on Pyaar Actually. Or ho sake, to ask them to join us. Who them? Well, that special someone in your life. Who knows? Maybe you'll end up sharing your special story with us. Until then, this is Shriya Pulgaonkar saying goodbye. For more inspiration, insight and information on natural diamonds, log on to www.naturaldiamonds.com. Catch new episodes of the Pyaar Actually podcast on the IVM Podcasts app, website, or wherever else you get your podcasts from.